So I decided to make a blog about my emotions because I think there are certain things that I don't really want to talk about, but I think it's about time that I did speak about things. And some of you may think it's completely odd and weird, and some of you will be able to relate to it. So here goes. Um, this is my first one, and the first one I want to talk about is, let's just call it Behind Locked Doors. And why do I call it Behind Locked Doors? Is because it is behind locked doors. I don't know, ever since I was small, by small I mean like 15 or so, I started getting the habit of locking my door. Actually, wait, I think it started a lot earlier, probably when I was 13. Yeah, I started locking my door. And I never understood why, at that age, why I started doing it, and it pissed my parents off so much. And I thought it was just because my parents would enter my room without knocking and would annoy me like any teenager. But then, as I grew older and older, I guess I started realizing the reason as to why I got into the habit of locking my doors. Even until now, I do it. And, well, let's just say, it started because my parents used to fight. And they still do. But, well, they did for a long time. And now it's just, they pretend like it never happened. So, they're okay now, but they're not okay at the same time. But at that time, they were lashing out a lot, and yeah, I think they thought that we couldn't hear, we being my sister and me, but we could hear everything, and I didn't quite understand it, what was going on, but I did know that there was something wrong. So I started locking my doors. Not that that helped, because I could still hear things, but it just made me feel a lot safer. And then when I started locking my doors, I started doing something else. I started talking to myself. And not just talking to myself, but creating people in the room. Like I could see them, like they were there. And it was like I was creating this little play and acting it out. And it had my own lyrics and my own actions and my own expressions. And it was everything that I created. And therefore for me, it was perfect. Like I said, some people would think that's odd because it's not exactly normal for people to talk to themselves or see things. Now, when I say I see things, it's not really I am seeing things, but I just act like I see people there. And yeah, so I started doing that, and then it used to make me happy, and then I would unlock my doors and go and face reality. And I would come back home. As soon as I hit home, I would lock the doors, and I'd create my own world again. And it was different stories. Sometimes it was silly. Sometimes I would pretend sometimes that vampires existed or werewolves and all that supernatural stuff. And sometimes I would pretend that it was just an ordinary day that I was living. But yeah, I would create different short little plays based on my mood and act it out and speak it out and just be happy with it. And then it was okay. I started getting okay with facing the world. And it wasn't only that my parents were fighting. I mean, at that age, I was dealing with a lot. Like coming out about being, transgendered. Yeah, so oh, and dealing with the love of my life. Who's not in my life anymore, but is still the love of my life. Yeah, so I guess it was, creating stories about her that how I wanted it to be, and yeah, and then when I went out in the real world, it was okay. I mean, it wasn't. It sucked. It sucked so bad, but it made things better, pretending. Yeah, and so I still have the habit of doing it, and I'm pretty old now. Like, I'm old enough. I'm 25. to not see things and talk to myself, but I think people should give it a try. Sometimes it actually does help. Because when life really sucks and the world out there is cold, behind locked doors you can create exactly what you want and live your life exactly the way you want to. And don't worry about people thinking you're crazy, because I never told this to anyone thinking that they would think I'm crazy. But I guess it's time, as I said on Facebook, that I start speaking about my emotions. And part of speaking about my emotions is also sharing all the stupid things I have done because of them. I don't know what else to say. I'm pretty sure at this point everybody's like, dude, you're crazy. And honestly, I think that too. I think it's not normal. I think sometimes that I'm crazy for doing it. And at the end of acting it out, sometimes I'll just like laugh and I'll be like, what was that about? Like, why did I just do that? But it helps. So I keep doing it no matter how crazy it is or how weird it sounds. Behind locked doors, create exactly what you want. Because when life out there doesn't go the way you want it to, sometimes it's okay to pretend behind locked doors that it is.